in the age of technology. We are talking of people who know technology, not some Senator Oshiomole who is not computer compliant.
Are you saying it's analog?
I am supporting him because the planning of 20 and 30 years, the planning of 20, Mr. President, the planning of 20 and 30 years is not the same planning today. Our children are not reading what we left in 2030.
1 minute, please. Senator Adam Oshiomole, let me help you. Let me read order 52 of the opposition nominees. So you have 2 minutes, sir.
Mr. President, I want to accuse you of bias. You look at my height and you give me 2 minutes. Those with the higher frame, you give them...
2 seconds to you. I had 2 seconds. 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Okay, thank you, sir. With due respect to my brother, who is himself an accountant, distinguished Senator Dafinoni, this bill lacks merit. It does not merit spending precious time of this Senate on it. Mr. President, the best time in Nigeria planning history, when we used to have development plans, they were not done by chartered institute. We can't have a situation where we have 1 million laws adding no value other than creating confusion. Who is a professional planner? An economy planner, a sociologist planner, an electrical planner, a senatorial planner? Which kind of planning? Every aspect of business, depending on the nature of the business, those running the business, what to plan for and what not to plan for. Laws are not motions. Laws are something that somebody can be charged to court on the basis of a law of parliament. So I respect so much distinguished Senator Dafinoni, but I do not believe that we should keep passing laws that will not add value whatsoever. They only create confusion in our courts, and worse, the chief whip who supported were talking about cutting costs. How do you cut costs when you create institutions that we had a happy chairman, vice chairman, deputy chairman, all kinds of appointments
I'm protecting you. I'm protecting you.
Additional overhead, valuing up our...
Wait, I'm protecting you. You are being disrupted. I mean, it's trying to stop you from speaking. You are a very experienced legislator. You were here since 1992, right? He has the floor. He has my protection. Allow him to finish, then I recognize you. You can carry on.
Thank you very much, sir. I will conclude by saying this Senate must be conscious of the fact that our overhead, our recorded expenditure is already extremely high. We should not consciously enact any law that will lead to additional 1 naira be spent avoidably at the expense of capital project. I saw from me, Mr. President, this law does not deserve second reading.
And let me call on Senator Thomas.
He should start also practicing computer. That's all. So, Mr. President, this motion is very, very timely. Let us get into the nitty-gritty because we are moving with technology. And if we talk about technology 20, 30 years ago, we'll never be the same today. We need a different kind of approach. We need expertise. We need a different type of training. And this is what Senator Dafinoni is introducing. So I start to support this bill to go into the second reading.
Last but not the least, my deputy leader wants to...
I want to emphasize the fact that the most important thing in this new age of development is data. The most important thing about data is data analysis. And the most important thing about data analysis is deploying this analysis to create planning.
Chief, we restore order, please, and silence, please.
Order, please. Order, please. Distinguished Senator Plan.
And like
Distinguished Senator Victor Ume. Resume your seats. Chairman Northeast Caucus. Chairman Senate Northeast Caucus. Resume your seat. Distinguished Senator Adamu Alero. Distinguished Senator Adamu Alero, resume your seat.
And Your Excellency, if we read through the submission of distinguished Senator Dafinole, which I think is very right, time and time over, we have been duplicating projects. Time and time over, we have been doing our projects almost in a blind manner. So if Dafinole is now emphasizing on the use of data in planning our life, I think we should be very sympathetic. We should be very sympathetic to this motion, and I'm proposing that let us allow it to go for second reading.
Thank you, Deputy Minority Leader. You have the floor. Then I call on the Leader Emeritus, Abdullahi Aya, just after him.
Something I've done, Mr. President.
Former members of Reps 1992. And a very good friend of former President OBJ.
Thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing me in supporting the bill presented by Senator Dafinole. I would like to appeal to our colleagues. It will be too premature to kill that bill in floor of this House. I would like to appeal to you, Mr. President, and our colleagues to send this thing for second reading. Let the committee look into it. As we are sitting here today, it might be very difficult for us to decide the rightness of this bill or the fault of this bill. It will be very good to send it to committee, have second reading, and direct it to committee. They will have a public hearing. If it's good for the Senate to listen to a second time, we will listen to it. So I think that I support this bill, and I ask my colleagues to allow it to go for second reading. Those that oppose to it are not being fair to Senator Dafinole. Thank you, Mr. President.
The words of elders. Let me have, you are well experienced. In fact, you were chief whip. And we call you chief emeritus. Except you want us to take away that designation on you.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I remain Senator Joel Onuabo Thomas, representing the good people of Delta South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I want to thank you for protecting me and allowing me to speak. I'm going to speak directly on the issue of the Institute. Everywhere in the world, there are planning standards. And the Chartered Institute of Planning of Nigeria does not in any way prevent any other body from carrying out planning activities. But what I want to say here is that in planning, there must be standards. And this institute will provide the standard like every other chartered institute in this country, like the Chartered Institute of Taxation, Institute of Bankers, Nigerian Institute of Bankers, and the rest. So a planning institute is needed to standardize who practiced in those areas. And Mr. President, I want to say that this institute, Chartered Institute, it is at no cost to government or to public funds. It has no cost absolutely to government. It is a group of professionals who have trained abroad to bring back their experience to the country to provide a standardized process for planning in the country. And it's an association of voluntary entrance and voluntary exit. If you want to be a planner in this country, you can join. If you don't want to be a planner in this country, nobody's forcing you to be a planner.
So, sir, so I want to say that the institute has existed without a legal backing for the last 15 years. Group of professionals, they just need a legal backing to be able to carry on their activities. Mr. President, thank you for giving me the
Thank
opportunity
you,
to speak.
Senator Joel Thomas,
God
for
bless
your
you.
elaborate and well.
Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished senators, this bill is apt and germane, especially looking against the background of one of the problems that constitutes a cog in the wheel of our developmental aspirations. That is the issue of policy somersault that has occasioned our developmental plans. So essentially what this bill seeks to do is to have an institute that will have the responsibility of training core professionals, identifying and training core professionals with planning bias with a view to guiding our developmental aspirations and then insulate our developmental aspirations from the issue of policy somersault and also stamp out quackery in the practice of planning. And one of the things is that it will have no cost to government, especially when we are now trying to reduce the cost of government with a view to releasing resources for a much needed infrastructural development. So against this background, I support the second reading of this bill and urge my colleagues to support it with the spirit of light. Thank you.
Senator Adam Oshiomole, we have 2 minutes because we want to round up quickly for the second reading of your bill to be debated.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Ide Dafinone, representing Delta Central. Mr. President, sir, I'd like to move for the House to please debate the bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Planning of Nigeria and for related matters, 2025. I so move, sir.
You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I will proceed with the lead debate. This bill seeks to establish the Chartered Institute of Planning of Nigeria as a statutory professional body responsible for regulating, standardizing, and advancing planning practice across the country. It aims to introduce a unified national framework for professional planning covering economic, infrastructure, environmental, social, corporate, and strategic planning, thereby addressing Nigeria's long-standing institutional and developmental gaps. Mr. President, for decades, Nigeria's development has suffered from policy inconsistency, poor coordination, abandoned projects, weak forecasting, and fragmented planning practices across ministries, departments, and agencies. Successive development frameworks from Vision 2010 to Vision 2020 and the ERGP fell short largely because Nigeria lacked a competent institutionalized planning architecture capable of ensuring continuity, coherence, and long-term implementation across political transitions. The CIPN provides the structural remedy to this systemic gap. By becoming chartered, the Institute will further professionalize planning by setting national standards for training, ethics, certification, and continuous development. It will unify planning methodologies across government institutions, build a skilled workforce of certified planners, and institutionalize planning as a central governance process. CIPN will also formalize collaborations already established with bodies such as INEC, local government service commissions, the NUC, and private sector organizations, aligning national planning with global best practices. By strengthening planning capacity, Nigeria will significantly reduce project failures, cost overruns, wasteful spending, and policy reversals. The Institute will also enhance investor confidence through predictable, data-driven planning, thereby stimulating long-term economic stability and competitiveness. The bill carries no financial burden on the federal government. The Institute will self-finance through membership dues, training, professional certifications, research, consultancy, and partnerships. Ultimately, sir, the establishment of the Chartered Institute of Planning of Nigeria will, 1, institutionalize a culture of strategic, evidence-based planning in government. 2, strengthen national development outcomes through continuity and coordination. 3, promote transparency, accountability, and value for money in public projects. 4, create career pathways for young professionals into a multidisciplinary planning profession. And 5, enhance Nigeria's global standing through adherence to international planning standards. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill presents a transformative step towards modernizing governance and securing Nigeria's long-term development trajectory. Its passage will provide Nigeria with the professional backbone required to plan effectively, execute efficiently, and grow sustainably. Thank you, Mr. President.
The Chief Whip of the Senate.
Thank you,